So you're looking to reach the absolute peak of Microsoft 365 administration. Well, there's one final challenge you've got to conquer, the MS-102 exam. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this final boss battle and lay out the entire roadmap for you to earn that awesome Microsoft 365 Administrator Expert title.
You know, this quote just nails it. This isn't just about managing some software. No, you're becoming the steward of your company's entire digital world. You're the one making sure everything is running, everything is secure, and everything is moving forward. It's a huge deal.
Okay, so before we jump into the nuts and bolts of the exam, let's talk about why this role is so incredibly important. I mean, what does it really mean to be the digital architect for a company today? I like to think of the M365 administrator as the air traffic controller for the entire Microsoft universe, right? You're not just looking at one plane or one app, you are orchestrating the flow between everything, from who gets to log in, to protecting against cyber attacks, to making sure the company's data is safe. You're the central hub.
All right, let's get into the main event, the MS-102 exam itself. It's really built on 4 key pillars of knowledge, and trust me, you've got to master every single one of them.
Now pay close attention to this slide because this right here is your study guide. Look at how it's weighted. Security and threats, that's the biggest piece of the pie. Make it up about 1/3 of the whole exam. Then you've got tenant management and identity and access right behind it, both super important. And then there's compliance. It might look like the smallest slice, but it's often where the trickiest questions are hiding.
So, the first pillar is all about building the house. This is the foundation. You're creating the tenant from scratch, you're connecting your company's domains, and you're keeping a hawk's eye on the service health to make sure everything is humming along perfectly.
Next up, Pillar 2, identity. This is all about people. How do we get them in the door, securely? This part focuses on connecting your company's existing user directory, you know, the one that's probably been sitting on a server in the office for years, and syncing it up to the cloud with Microsoft Entra. It's all about making sure access is seamless and super secure.
And here we go, the biggest part of the exam. This is where you become the guardian at the date. You're defending against a whole world of cyber threats that are constantly changing. You'll be deep in Microsoft Defender, setting up threat policies, protecting laptops and phones, and knowing exactly what to do the second an alert goes off. And finally, the fourth pillar. This is where you become the rule enforcer. You'll be using Microsoft Purview to manage data governance and compliance. What does that mean? It means setting up policies to stop someone from accidentally emailing out a spreadsheet with sensitive customer data. It's about protecting the company's crown jewels. Okay, so you know the topics. But let's be real, knowing the material is only half the battle. Now let's get some real talk, some wisdom from people who have actually been in the trenches, sat for this exam, and passed. I love this quote from Reddit user Disbanas. It's brilliant because it tells you exactly where the exam's hardest. Sure, you'll get questions about setting up a tenant, but the really tough, in-depth questions, they are going to be heavily focused on security and compliance.
So, here's the game plan. You can't just skim the surface of Purview and Defender. You have to live and breathe it. The exam is packed with these complex, real-world scenarios. They're not going to ask you, what is data loss prevention? No, they're going to ask something like, a user in the finance department is trying to upload a file with credit card numbers to a personal cloud drive. Which specific policy and setting will block this? You've got to know those nitty-gritty details.
Now let's talk about the open book part of the exam. You might think, oh, awesome, I can just look up all the answers. Well, not so fast. The reality, as told by many who've taken it, is that searching Microsoft Learn during the exam is slow. You can't just hit Control F to find a word, and time just evaporates while you're searching. It's a tool, not a crutch.
And this is a really important heads up from the community. A lot of people have reported that the interface for the open book feature can be, well, buggy. It can actually crash the exam. Now, the proctor can restart it for you, but man, talk about stressful. It totally breaks your focus. So the lesson is, use it, but use it wisely and sparingly.
So, you did it. You navigated the tricky questions. You passed the exam. What's the big reward? Let's talk about that expert status you just heard and what it really means for you. This certification is the real deal. It's Microsoft's official stamp of approval that you have comprehensive skills to manage and secure the entire M365 platform. It tells any employer, this person doesn't just know one part of the system, they are an expert across the whole thing. And the journey to getting there is a clear 3-step process. You can't just walk in off the street and take the MS-102.
First, you have to prove your skills with what's called a prerequisite certification.
And here are your options for that first step. Before you can even sit for the expert exam, you have to hold one of these 5 associate-level certifications. It makes sense, right? Microsoft wants you to prove you're a specialist in a key area, like Teams, or security, or identity, before you can prove you can manage the whole shebang.
So, there you have it. You've seen the path, you know the 4 pillars, you've heard what the exam is really like. The question now isn't just about passing a test, it's about whether you're ready to step into that critical leadership role, to become the architect and the guardian of your organization's entire digital world.